Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive episode of Inside the Core, a podcast series where we explore people of LCI, their values, and their journey. I am Leila Bhatia Bhawani, Company Secretary, Chief Legal Officer, overseeing the corporate communications function, and I will be your host for today. Our guest today requires no introduction. He requires no introduction around the corporate community of Pakistan, someone we jokingly refer to as our resident corporate celebrity, and he most certainly doesn't require an introduction in and around the corridors of LCI. A thorough LCIite, someone who has spent decades with this company, known for his clarity of thought, steady leadership, and deep commitment to people. Asif Jooma, Chief Executive Officer, Lucky Core Industries. Hi, Asif. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Inside the Core.
Hi, Leila, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this podcast. Are you sure you were talking about me in that introduction? Because a lot of that didn't quite resonate with the way I look at myself.
Well, I wouldn't say it to you every day, but I meant every single word of it
Great,
today.
thank you. I'm humbled.
So today, this episode is broken down into 6 segments, where the first segment is about early influencers, your childhood. The second segment is Asif Jooma, the person behind the desk. The third segment is your journey with LCI. The fourth and fifth segment are a little lighthearted, and then we'll end with your final comments at the end.
Okay.
So that's the segment for today.
Okay.
So my first question, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Well, I come from, if I just look at my nuclear family, it's a fairly large family because there were 5 of us in terms of 5 siblings. Father was a professional. He was a neurosurgeon. Came to Pakistan in the early 50s. Didn't have any family here as such because he had moved. His antecedents had moved to South Africa, as many Maimans had done in those days from India to trade and develop businesses and engage in businesses. And he was kind of the black sheep of the family because he said to them he wasn't interested in business and all he wanted was for them to pay his medical school tuition so he could go to medical school. So he started medical school in South Africa, but then had to move to India because being a non-white, he was unable to kind of pursue his career beyond the first couple of years because when you got to a stage where you had to dissect bodies, which you have to do during your medical education, a non-white couldn't work on a white body, right? Okay. So that's when he moved then back to India and he finished his medicine there. After which he, having done a few house jobs, he went to Oxford and he was at the Nuffield College Infirmary, and that's where he did a specialization in neurosurgery and came back to Pakistan. So if there's anyone who actually instilled the work ethic in all of us, it was him. It was him because he worked on average 12 to 14 hours a day. Like most highly intelligent and successful people, didn't sleep very much, but I need to sleep a lot. Right? So there's a distinct difference there. And so it was really, that work ethic, that professionalism, that desire to excel at what you do. And the one thing he always used to say, that whatever you do, you have to do for yourself because no one's going to pay your bills.
Right.
Okay?
That's very true.
And that kind of that really did stick in my head. And so, but like I said, so he was the father. I was the youngest. So there was a big age difference between me and my eldest siblings. There was a year and a half between the elder two and then sort of more interspersed, and then I came right at the end. So in many ways, by virtue of being the youngest, I was always hanging around. I was, I think after my eldest sister, I was probably his favorite. But did we spend a lot of time as a nuclear family? Yes, at odd times, like, the odd meal, etc. But not really, because he was working too hard. So he was there as the father, but who was then the father figure who nurtured me through my childhood was actually my elder brother, who was 11 or 12 years older than me, right? Which is quite a lot when you're, so when he was doing his his medicine, I was 11 years, 12 years old. And he's the one who kind of made sure that I didn't get into the wrong company, didn't succeed, right? He was the one who made sure that I read a book a week and wrote a book review.
Wow.
He's the one who made sure that I was sort of under curfew if I didn't do my work on time and if my exam results were not up to par. So there, I've had multiple influences in my life. Then there was my eldest sister who I was very close to. But she was like almost like the second mother. There was my mother who was probably the gentlest, caring person. One brother who passed away, who was a real. He passed away when I was 9, but he was, extremely good-looking, man about town, great with music, all that. So great social skills, very gregarious, kind of drew people like bees to honey. So, and then, there was my sister who's just older than me. Her and I had a very, I said we were close in age.
Love and hate type relationship.
Total love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
So I was the one who would get bashed around the ear by her.
Okay.
So there have been, like I said, multiple influences
Fantastic.
in my life.
And of all those, who would you say was the most influential person growing up? And how has that person shaped your leadership values today?
I think probably the most it's difficult to say who was the most influential, because I think we all, coming from the same gene pool, the same value system, we really did imbibe and share the same values. And one of the key values that we actually was embedded in us was a value that we have within this company, which is integrity and responsibility.
Yes.
Right? And that actually cut across every family member. So, it's difficult to say who. I mean, everyone had a different, and like I said, because I was the youngest, I was the easiest one to, get your way with. So, and I was also then, as a consequence, the most impressionable. So, if my elder siblings were listening to Frank Sinatra or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones in the 60s, I got exposed to that, right? If it was sport, I got exposed to that, whether it was playing cricket with my brothers in the front lawn, playing squash with my mother. I mean, I was a very keen squash player. And my mother used to play squash every day, swim on a regular basis, which is why I guess she lived to be 100 years old.
MashaAllah.
So, like I said, it's been...
Everybody's played their part.
Everybody has played their part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you come from and as you mentioned, you come from a family of doctors. And I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask for our viewers, what made you choose the corporate world?
Well, I actually wanted to do medicine. And I did my O-levels. I then went to do my inter-science.
Yeah.
And I'd done 3 months. And my brother was actually he was doing his residency because he's a neurosurgeon as well.
Right.
He was doing his residency at Jinnah Hospital in general surgery. And my first cousin of ours had to have an appendicitis. So he said to me, oh, by the way, Iqbal I'm doing his appendicitis. Why don't you come with me?
Okay.
So I said, sure. And I went and, put on the surgical gown, went into the operation theater. He took the scalpel out. They put the iodine, those are pretty rudimentary. And he made the incision and I fainted. So the next day, I actually went and...
So that's it.
That's it. I can't do it. And I think also really, I also don't believe, having seen the kind of commitment that you need to work and the hours you need to put in, I don't think, honestly, you have to recognize your shortcomings.
Yeah.
That's you talked about leadership. That's the number one thing. The number one thing is you have to understand what your shortcomings are. I don't think I had the ability to put in those kinds of hours.
Okay.
Right? I mean, so I think as I say, whatever happens, happens for the best. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Okay. So one last question in this segment.
Yeah.
What is the childhood memory that still influences your decision making today?
Relates to sport and relates to a sport that I wasn't terribly good at, but I used to play a lot, which was cricket. Right? And it was actually about teamwork, right? Yes, you may want to bat all the time. You may want to be bowling all the time, but you have to take a step back to make sure that everyone else gets an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you can get the best out of that collective team effort.
Absolutely.
And that's, I think, a lesson that's always
Stayed with you.
right. So that's one. The other one is from squash.
Okay.
Because I played competitive squash and I played a lot of squash. And what I took away from there is in every sport, there is win or lose. Right? There's victory or there's failure
Yes.
or defeat. And the only way you improve is by trying harder. So you've got to have that tenacity, that resilience to keep on trying to improve.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed.
So both taken from sport, which is why I think sport is very important.
Yes,
And we should really encourage all our children, grandchildren, younger generations, colleagues, peers to play sports.
I totally agree with that. Okay, Asif, so we'll move on to the second segment.
Yeah.
And this is about getting to know the person behind the desk and person behind the title. So behind the structured decision maker and leader that we see, who is Asif on a personal level?
Depends who you talk to. I'm a softie at heart. And that's really the person that I am.
Okay.
I can take exception to a situation very quickly.
Yeah.
And with equal speed, I realize what I've done. And I will actually start feeling bad, and I will make that effort. I may not just overtly go out and say, "Hey, I'm sorry," but I will make it very obvious to the person that I'm trying to make amends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have been at the receiving end of that, so I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about. So what brings you joy outside of work?
Depending on what sport I'm playing at the time, that brings me joy. Spending time with friends. I am less gregarious now than I used to be, but I used to be very gregarious. So spending time with friends, going out, like I said, whether it's playing golf, whether it's cycling. Now I've restarted playing bridge, whether it's playing bridge. So that really does. But it's all at the end of the day for me. It's really all about people.
It's all
about people.
Absolutely. So what's a personal habit or ritual that has stayed a constant throughout your career?
My sense of humor. And my sense of humor, and when I say sense of humor, because I can also have a fairly twisted sense of humor, where you're teasing people, and the closer I am to someone, the more affectionate I am towards someone, the more I tease them, the more, and that's what my children say to me, that, look, we've lived with you, we understand, but you can't do this with our friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fair enough. Absolutely. So as a leader, what part of your personality do people really get to see?
I'm pretty authentic. Honestly, I like to believe that I'm pretty authentic. So there's nothing that's actually hidden. And I'm one of those people who cannot lie.
Yeah.
Ask me a question that requires me to lie, and you will know the minute I open my mouth that I'm lying.
So a question that many may wonder, you've been at the CEO of the company for over a decade. You've been in senior leadership roles for many decades now. What keeps you grounded?
I was having this conversation only yesterday with somebody. And I said, in fact, I was having this conversation with Paul Kaiser yesterday, who's an HR consultant who I was having lunch with.
All right.
And I said, what has to keep you grounded? And we were both saying this, right?
Yeah.
And we both felt exactly the same way. Is that when you're in a role, a job, a position, it's a role, a job, a position, right? You're a professional, you're doing the job. That's not you. It's not because of you. And you have to understand that. There are many doors that open for you by virtue of the fact that you're in a particular role, right?
Right.
Don't expect those doors to be opening when you're not in that role, because a lot of people, why do they have major angst when they are retiring, or when they're moving roles? It's because they say, what's going to happen after this? But that's why it's important to develop and have your own set of friends, your interests, and friends who have not been friends that you have developed with the way through time as you progress up the corporate ladder.
Correct.
But friends you've grown up with.
Yeah.
Friends that there are still friends, and you'll be amazed if you hear the conversation that I have with one particular friend of mine, right? Which is the most inane conversation, and I have to talk to him maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I consciously will call him 2 or 3 times a week. And if we were to meet today, there's no way that we would, right?
Be friends.
But there's a history, and I think you've got to maintain that sense of balance and anchor.
So you started off as a management trainee in 1983.
22.
Yes. You've
Just
told everybody.
Just before my 23rd birthday.
And then moved to various roles, including sales manager in the chemicals business, a brief secondment to the UK, business manager paints, business manager polyester, vice president PTA, vice president polyester, and then the CE, amongst certain other roles in the middle. So from a management trainee to chief executive in the same company, that's a rare full circle. What does that mean to you, and what do you have to say about that?
So when I joined this company, that was one of my aspirations, was actually to become a chief executive. And that would be my advice to all young management trainees today. That, when you come into this company is unique. It's unique because it offers you a platform for very diverse experiences, for growth, for learning.
Yes.
It's a company that does not compromise on its values. It's one of the few companies where, if there's one question in the Gallup engagement survey where consistently we score high on, is that we have everyone has a best friend at work. And having a best friend at work doesn't mean that person is your best friend the minute you leave work. No, somebody you can rely on in the workplace.
Yes.
And I think that's really the familial bond that has bound this company together for over 80 years now.
Fantastic. So your journey from management trainee to CEO, can that be achieved today?
Absolutely. As long as you stay the course and you have the patience. But yeah, you stay the course, you have mobility, right? You're true to yourself and true to the company. You keep your nose clean, stay out of politics, keep your head down, the reward will come. Don't work, and I keep on telling a lot of I tell my kids this as well, right? So whatever I'm saying, anything I say here is no different to what I would tell my children. Don't just work for money. If you really enjoy and you work to excel, the reward will come.
And I think everything you've said today has been consistent and along those lines. Perfect. So from 1983 to today, with a small break in the middle, you witnessed several eras of LCI. What has been the biggest transformation for the company, and what has stayed a constant?
I think what has stayed the constant, and that without batting an eyelid, is our values. I mean, that's unshakable. It's like the Rock of Gibraltar. Doesn't move, right? It just stays there, and those are our values. I think in terms of the transition, I think in many ways the company still retains a lot of its way, its kind of old legacy approach, values, etc. But speed, accountability, entrepreneurial, true, because previously we used to always talk about, we have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Now it's truly entrepreneurial.
Yeah, it's in action.
Yeah, it's and it's very, very visible. I think the other big change is that whatever we do, all our actions really do are sort of the outcome. The outcome is measured not because it sounds good or it's the right words that we need to be espousing, but how do you translate that into true benefit for the company and its stakeholders?
Absolutely.
And its stakeholders. And I think we all think that way. I think we all think that way.
So you're a seasoned professional, and the workplace has evolved over decades. So how do you connect with the millennials and the Gen Zs while keeping everyone aligned?
So I'm very fortunate, and I think this is one thing that I learned from my father, being able to interact with people of different generations, different age groups, different backgrounds, right? Very, very diverse groups. So I actually have friends who are close to 80, and I had friends who were in their late 60s, 70s when I was in my 30s and 40s. I have friends who are in their 30s. I mean, like you say to me, right? How the hell do you know what's happening in my age group?
Absolutely.
Right? Because I have friends in your age group. I have friends in much older age group.
Yes, you do.
So
that's true.
And that is what, that skill.
And it goes back to what you said earlier. It's about that network, creating those friends outside of the work circle.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so what motivates you to continue growing and learning even after reaching the top position?
Yeah, because I think the day, if you're passionate about what you're doing, if you're enjoying what you're doing, you can't help. You can't help but learn. You can't help but want to achieve more.
Just having passion. So our next segment is called Impressions of You. These are pre-recorded messages that we have from people at LCI of their impressions of you. These are not work-related, so you can comment on them, whether they're true or false, or just have a good laugh.
Hi Asif, मुझे लगता है आप physically बहुत fit हैं.
I try.
Try, yeah.
You come looking dapper to work every day. I was wondering if you have a stylist.
You have a stylist?
No, I don't have a stylist. In fact, thank you for the compliment, because my wife seems to think I have no color coordination sense at all.
Well, clearly Masha disagrees.
So I have an impression that you were a party person back in your university days.
Was I a party person back in university?
Yeah.
I was a party person back in university. I was a party person well out of university.
I think you're still a party person.
I'm still a party person, but I'm very balanced. So at university, if my friends were partying all night, I would leave at midnight because I had class in the morning. Post university, I'm like I said, I'm lily-livered. I'm up and I'm home by midnight to go to sleep. So
responsible partying.
So I've always been very balanced. Always been very balanced.
I have this impression of you that you're really strict. Is that really the case?
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not strict at all, I don't think. I like things done in, I don't want to say this, my way, right? And if they're not, I kind of get a bit impatient. But strict, I don't think I am.
I think you come around.
Yeah?
I think you come around.
I'm always bullied. By the way, let me tell you, this impression that I'm strict, everyone always gets their way. I'm probably the most bullied CEO in Pakistan.
It seems like you're a rock music kind of person.
Rock music kind of person.
Soft rock.
Soft rock. Okay, so that's true.
Hi Asif, I have an impression that you're a really serious person.
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, more often than not, I'm playing the fool.
Asif, you can ask anything. Unrestricted mandate.
Yeah, and I hope that stays. And that's the one thing I think for not just a leader, for anyone. You've got to be able. First of all, you've got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely.
You've got to be able to accept any question, any observation, as long as it's constructive. As long as So yeah, and if anyone ever feels at any point that I'm kind of being uptight or something, please tell me.
Fantastic. So also just a few rapid fire questions to get to know you better. So Asif Jooma as a management trainee back in the 80s or Asif Jooma as CE now?
What would I prefer?
Yep.
I think Asif Jooma as CE now.
Yeah. Excellent. Instinct or experience?
Experience. But a lot of your experiences are also the result of the instinct that you have.
Correct. If you had to restart your career in 2025, what industry would you enter or what would it be?
I'm maybe a product of what I am and what I've experienced in the last 42 years. I'm a widgets guy, right? So it would be something that is tangible. Would I go into the financial sector and be trading ETFs and cryptos? No. Okay. That's not me. I have to really understand, and I have to be able to touch, feel, and see.
Yeah. Old school in that way.
Old school.
Yeah.
You know, what true tangible value
Yeah.
a product, a service is actually imparting.
So if you had a full day with your closest friends, what activity would you end up doing?
I'd play golf, I'd be at the beach, I'd hike.
What if you had a superpower? What would it be?
If I had a superpower, stronger memory.
Okay.
I mean, I have a pretty good memory,
You do have a great
but
memory.
I don't have a photographic memory.
You want a photographic memory?
I'd love one,
It can be a blessing and a curse. One leader who inspires you the most.
Inspired.
Either.
Azhar Ali Malik, who was was the CEO of LCI Pakistan.
Your favorite TV show?
It's varied, right? Because now with Netflix, there's
Yeah.
kind of different shows, etc. But I think the one that I've enjoyed consistently over a period of time was Friends.
Fantastic. It's a great one.
Yeah,
A hidden skill that people don't know about.
singing.
Would you like to sing something
thank
for
you.
us?
I'm a frustrated singer.
That's something that we certainly didn't know. Favorite food?
Aloo keema.
Aloo keema. Interesting. Coffee or tea?
I would say tea because I'm an instant coffee drinker. So if you can't be an instant coffee drinker
Yeah.
and like coffee, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm a creature of habit. So every day at midday, I have a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And then before I go out
With
for
your
my
chanas.
With my chanas. No, after my chanas. Chanas are at 11:30. And then before I go out for my bike ride or if I'm going to exercise, I'll have a small cup of coffee, but it's not
Yeah.
espresso.
Yeah.
It's instant.
Instant coffee.
Nescafe, Gold Blend.
So anyone who's a coffee drinker would say you're not
I'm
a
not a
real
coffee.
yogi.
That's what
You're
I'm
not
saying.
a coffee drinker.
So it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be tea. It's got to be mixed,
gotta
and
be.
also tea, mixed tea.
Fantastic. What's the first thing you bought with your first salary?
Actually, if I remember correctly, if it wasn't my first, it was my second or my third, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it was a National Panasonic radio cassette player for my mother.
Oh, that's lovely.
Right. That
Fantastic. A book that changed your perspective.
Plato's Republic, when I was at university.
Okay. A leadership quality you admire most.
Humility.
A value you never compromise on. You know the answer to that one. Integrity, responsibility.
You got integrity. You got to be true to you.
Yeah.
You have to be, and true integrity is not just financial integrity.
Yeah.
It's intellectual integrity. It's
Yeah. And it's a value that at LCI
Moral
we live by
integrity,
day in and day
yeah,
out.
yeah.
A quote you live by.
Live and let live.
Live and totally agree.
But even though most people don't agree with that, by the way, you ask most of my friends
Yes.
or my family
Yes.
whether I truly am a
Embody
live
that.
live and let
Yes.
live. They'll say no way. But I like you ask me what I think, so that's what I think.
Fantastic.
We're entitled to kid ourselves, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Asif, we're going to end this segment with your message to the young professionals and the next generation of LCI, of Pakistan. So, over to you.
Well, all I can say is, be true to yourself. There is hope. There are opportunities. We have a great country. We have a country that's going through multiple challenges, which, as a consequence of which, we've now seen that there's this inordinate sort of desire amongst young people, and not just young people, even people mid-career to leave Pakistan and go overseas,
Right.
which is totally understandable. And would I tell somebody who's overseas today to come back in a hurry? No, but I would still say don't lose hope. We all came back to this country at different stages, whether it was my parents, whether it was me, whether it was some of my older siblings. We came back because we had hope in this country, and that's what really kept this country going.
Yeah.
And we have to ensure that we don't lose that hope, and we don't lose the value that the brains of Pakistan can contribute to this country. And as far as young professionals are concerned, LCI is a great place to work. It may not be the swankiest of businesses,
Yeah.
right? Okay, it's very B2B. It's not It's not fintech, it's not IT, but it does actually make a difference in people's lives every day. It is a company that has a purpose.
Right.
Whether it's from our infant nutrition business to our pharma business to our soda ash business to chemicals and agris, animal health, in some shape or form on a daily basis, we're touching practically every consumer in this country. And it's a journey, right? And the journey is only just begun. We've only been here for 80 odd years.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to continue. We're going to continue for another 80 and 80 beyond that.
Beyond that.
And I hope that the future generations of LCI leadership take this company and grow it many multiples of what it is today, and as a consequence reward all the stakeholders, first and foremost the employees, right, and give them those careers and those opportunities.
Thank you, Asif. I second that. Thank you for joining us today and having this very honest and open conversation. I know I really enjoyed taking this interview, and I'm sure our audience will enjoy it as well.
Thank you, Lela.
Thank you for joining us for this very special episode of Inside the Core with our Chief Executive, where the conversations were honest, authentic, and heartfelt. Stay tuned for more episodes of Inside the Core, where we bring to you more LCI stories and insightful journeys. Thank you for joining us today.